Hey there, everybody. I'm here at 11, just as promised. It's the Oxidine Marine / Bill Oxidine live feed. We'll just go with Oxidine Marine live stream. We'll start out glancing some more at this boat while the crowd gathers up. Got a little another something behind it. There we are. We got people joining in. Some people didn't get this 11 Pacific, 11 California time. So many of you didn't miss it. They thought you did earlier, some of you East Coast guys. If not, I'm going to find a better way to announce the time that I'm going to be airing this. Yeah, I'm still working on this boat, so I'll be showing you guys some of this animal some more. And I'll be showing you my personal animal with prototype motors in it. Then I'll be showing you guys this Rampage that we decided to take a step further. It got a little damaged in shipping, so I had the customer send it back. The damage was minor, but here I have a lot of morals, and when somebody buys a nice boat like this, I want them to get exactly everything perfect. So he sent it back to me, and we took it a step further, and at no extra cost. Took it a step further at no extra cost. And in fact, while I got this video going, because I'd like to share this video. I'm gonna start with this boat. Yeah, so this is the Rampage. Yeah, this is the Rampage. Twin, and it's got 53 by 100 motors in it. It's got Castle Hydra XLs in it. Now the customer wanted this receiver box. So we typically don't use these kind of receiver boxes because they limit how much wire I can use to come out of the hull. But this one's gonna have just enough. That's fine. So the way it came from Amazon, Adam sent it to me from Amazon, the box. And the threads weren't that good. So I had to retap it and rethread it. Yeah. I had to retap and rethread it. And so, but I just wanted everything to be right for the customer. I don't want to have anything wrong or off or anything like that. And so we got rid of the tray. We got rid of the big tray. That's extra weight. And the tray actually, here's the tray. We remove the tray to conceal the batteries. And we conceal the ESCs. This was on there. You can see we're actually a little further forward. But I put him back here because of the style the customer is going to be running. He's not trying to do any saw records or anything like that. He wants to go real well at 80 miles an hour. And with the factory props have a lot of lift. So I've got it set up to where I've got the CG back a little bit so it's not running wet on him. And yeah, I signed this boat for him. And he's going to be very happy. But yeah, I'm definitely going to take it a couple steps further. I'm most definitely going to take it a couple steps further. Yeah. The Rampage is a super strong hull. Super strong. Ultra thick. It's a heavier carbon fiber weave than anything we typically use. Way heavier. And it's triple layered. This one is triple layered. It's got a layer of heavy carbon, then a layer of heavy carbon Kevlar, then another layer of heavy carbon. And that there is rad. That there is amazing and awesome. Also, what I didn't show you guys last week, I put foam in the lid. This is 2-part expanded foam that I put in there. Looks like a cream puff cake. I wish my floor didn't squeak like that. Push-pull cable steering. I also set up the struts for this guy so that he can have a great run right out the box. Yeah, I mean, I kind of do like the way that box is set up, and it's double-sided taped here. These are double-sided taped as well onto here. Now let's cruise over to this glory table. We got Fluffy joining us. Say hi, Fluffy. Fluffy isn't feeling good today. She threw up twice. I don't know why. But she had her belly was real big, and then she threw up, and now it's not. So hopefully it was just something that wasn't digesting well. Otherwise, we're going to take Fluffy to the veterinarian. But anyway, you guys came to see these RC boats, not Fluffy. Now, this is my personal boat. I've got some Castle Hydra 8S's in here. But what I've also got is our prototype motors in it. Check these out. Now, here's a closer look at one. Big, large diameter rotor. Tall stack stator. High purity copper in the windings. Stainless steel bearings. Bearings make a gigantic difference. And stainless steel is what you want because stainless steel don't rust. Stainless steel don't rust up on you. What I've got in here right now are some 2200 kV 4-pole motors. I just run them on 6S. I I ran them the other day. I made just a light pass and it blew over, but it did 105, and I mean it didn't even hold. I'm very curious to see what kind of results I get out of these motors as opposed to the motors we've been running. But here's something impressive. Here's my new big motor. Check that big daddy out. That's a big motor. Look at that. That's the size of a refreshment. It's the size of a beverage. Isn't it, Fluffy? Fluffy's kind of solemn tonight. But this motor is going to go in the Rampage. This big Mama Jam is going to the Rampage. This is a little bit bigger than the 53 by 100s. This is a 57 113. Bigger in diameter and longer. But I like to overpower things. I like to power things up heavy. In that Rampage, I really like the boat. And I honestly believe that these... Oh, wait. They're on my other boat. Never mind. Honestly believe that those Hobbywing HV ESCs will do really well with this. Now, here's another item that's up for show and tell this evening. Our new water jackets for our mini motors. Check these out. Oh, I hear Fluffy purring. You enjoying the live stream? Enjoying the live stream? Oh, the big motor right there. A pair of these are going in the Rampage. Now, just to get an idea, here's the mini Dom motor next to it. Yeah, it literally dwarfs it. Here's a mini Dom motor without a jacket. There's a great size comparison. Size does matter. Yeah. Your new motors look like jewelry. I haven't put a gas motor in the Intimidator, but it's been done before. Oh, that's a beautiful picture, actually. I had a customer put a gas motor in it, and it did well. I think it'd do almost better as a gas boat, but it does great as an electric boat. It's very manageable. It's just got so much. The way those props are set up, it's got so much power and so much torque. It definitely doesn't need these big gas motors that I'm developing right now. That is for sure. This kitty is really purring. She's really enjoying this live stream. And I'm really enjoying her here. Yeah, These motors are non-sensor based, non-censored. And right now I've been doing a lot of testing between censored and non-censored. And that brings us back to this guy right here. Oops. Check this guy out. So, these console motors are sensor based. And I've had the sensors on, and it ran really, really well. It definitely does with Dominator. I'm not sure how to do with this, but on the Dom, I'm going to try it with and without the sensors. Because I think at some point high in the RPM, the Castle speed controller lets go of the sensors anyway. So it'll just wind on up. All these products are very beautiful, as all of ours are. So our new cooling jacket, more on our new cooling jacket. So this our new cooling jacket, it barely fits our new motor. I mean, it's right on the edges, right on both edges, but it's in there. And what that does, it encompasses the whole motor. This thing chills down the whole entire motor. You're getting cooled down, buddy. With this thing, you are cooling the motor down. You can see a little bit of residue in there because I ran water through it to test it. But the way we've got it set up is you get the jacket. The jacket is a blank. And we have them in clear as well. The jacket is grooved for an O-ring. Yes, clean and clear and full coverage. You can say that again. Now, another cool feature is, okay, well, actually, I'm going to grab one that's already been opened right here. Now, the other day, I'm not going to lie, I was setting the one up that I was setting this one up, and I sneezed and dropped the motor, and I dropped one of these nipples, and it went into Never Never Land. So I opened another package, and this is the package that only has one nipple and two O-rings. But you guys can get the point through that. So it has these aluminum nipples, and you drill the jacket out, and you position the nipples wherever you'd like. I like the high-low and come in low. I pointed them inward just so they're more compact. But in turn, it might make me end up using more tubing, which I don't mind too much. But you got to remember on these minis, weight is crucial. A tiny bit of weight makes a big difference on a mini mono or a mini hydro or whatever. So when I drilled them, On the instructions, I'll put what size bit. I forgot what size bit I used, but the size bit that I used, they'll literally plug in. Sorry, I just scratched my face. They'll literally plug in, and they're practically sealed. But what I used was just a tiny pin drop of CA glue around the collars of them. Come on, and they're on here. Our new mini motors are sweet. And I told you guys, once I get a hold of things, they're going to be improved. Things improved once I get involved. And that's going to lead me to start into part of what I wanted to talk to you guys about this evening. I wanted to give you guys, I did this last week, but the video, it didn't get that many views because it was a second video, because I actually stopped the first one and started again. But what I want to tell you guys is kind of my origin and my roots and how we got here. So once upon a time in a city called San Leandro, California, I started out at 5 years old. I grew up around the corner from a really big hobby shop. This hobby shop was like a mom and pop's hobby shop. They had everything from trains, dollhouses, just slot cars, RC cars. They had a lot of RC car stuff. And they had a lot of slot car stuff. They pretty much had a lot of everything. A lot of trains, everything. And they just really don't have hobby shops like this anymore. I remember being a kid, I was able to go to the hobby shop with $1 and leave there with a bag full of parts for my slot cars. I would leave with pickup shoes, springs, silicone tires, you name it. And I remember the first time I went to the hobby shop, I brought my AFX car in there, and I asked the lady if they did trade-ins, and she started laughing, and they took me under their wing from there. So my dad, he liked to make me read a lot. So, and I didn't really want to. So he made me check out books at the library, like aside from school. So I decided the type of books I wanted to check out were books on slot cars and books on electronics. This is when I'm like 6 or 8. And so I had a little different opportunity than most kids, because the hobby shop was literally around the corner from my house. So I could try the things, I could get parts on my way home from school. And I got better and better at racing kids in the neighborhood with slot cars. And I'd got my first RC car, department store kind, at about 5 years old. So then I remember walking home from school every day and seeing the Tamiya Super Champ in the window. And I was just so fascinated by the monoshock in the back, the one shock that it had, and the oil bottle on the back. And I'd wanted that for like 2 Christmases. And by the time I was ready to get it, the hobby shop owner was telling me to get the RC10, but I just had to have that car. Christmas morning, that car was under the tree, and there's actually a charger and a battery from the hobby shop themselves. And because I used to hang out there a lot, and they just really taken a liking to me. So I kept doing the hobbies and getting better and better. And as a teenager, I kind of put the hobby stuff away for a little while. A few years, I discovered girls. And then around 18, I went back into the hobby shop. And I had more knowledge because I was a little older. And then I started running cars a lot, like heavy into cars. I got a Traxxas Rad 2, and I was making it jump over station wagons. And this is like in the late 80s, early 90s that I was doing this. So then in college, some friends and I decided to get an RC boat. And from my experience with being around the water with my dad when I was a kid, I loved being near the water. I just didn't like to fish. I liked making rafts and playing with the water itself. So doing that RC boat brought me back to the water, brought me back to something nature and something I was real familiar with when I was young, And I loved RC. I love the electronics. I love the motors and just playing with the gizmos. So I decided, you know what, this is what I want to do. And when I was younger, I did BMX and I was really good at it. And I got injured when I was in my early 20s. And right after that, the X Games came out. I was really disappointed. You know what I mean? Like, damn, I could have. I was talented. So I told myself the very next thing I get involved in, I'm going to stick with it. And that just happened to be RC boats. So I kept doing RC boats. I had a Kayasho Viper. And I've been doing RC boats since before LiPo was invented, before brushless motors, before 2.4 gigahertz radios. In fact, I had one of the very first 2.4 gigahertz radios ever made. And so I there was a factory in the town that I lived in, Pleasant Hill, California, called BBY Racing, and I was seeing their boats in RC Boat Modeler magazine, and I decided, you know what? Why don't I go into the factory and check it out? So I went to the factory, and the owner, Randy D. Naylor, that was the first day I made friends with him, and Randy asked me to race in his club after I bought a boat, and you know what was different back then? This was like in the late 90s. This was before the year 2000. This is over. This was like 25 years ago. Over that. And my boat. When you used to buy boats back then, they were completely in pieces. I'm talking not just like you have a hull and you have to drill it out. The hull was in pieces. I had to join the hull. I had to join the deck to the bottom, and everything was rough. I had to sand the deck perfectly to the parting line. Then I had to sand the hull perfectly to the parting line. Then I had to join the seam and do all those things. And that's how I learned how to make seamless boats as well. But anyway, I started out with plastic boats. And it's fun, it's ironic that I say so much about plastic boats. I ran and I raced plastic boats for so long. And people talked so bad about me. The pro guys kept telling me, Bill, you need to quit running plastic boats, you know. But anyway, I joined the club, and it's funny because Randy gave me a job with the club, and that was running the retrieve boat. Is a big rowboat that when at the club meet when everybody's boat flipped over, I was the guy that went and picked up the boats and brought them in. I was on a full size boat. There wasn't like a RC boat just sitting out there. I was on a rowboat. So it was just club meets at first. Then we started racing. When we started racing, while we are still doing club meets, I got better and better and faster and faster. And I broke my first saw record. My first straight line record I broke, I think, in 2001. I'm dead serious. Like literally, my first record was over 20 years ago. And then racing came along, like heat racing in the club. And the first couple of years of racing, I didn't win a single race. I mean, I went to races where every single person there got a trophy except me, including a 9-year-old girl. But I realized that 9-year-old girl was the daughter of Andy Coons, the guy who made the speed controllers. You know what I mean? Like, this wasn't just a little girl. You know what I mean? Then I also realized, Bill, you just got thrown into the lion's mouth of the fastest RC boat racers in the country. And it was a lot bigger back then. And I just got better and better. And suddenly I started winning races. Then I got sponsored by major companies like Airtronics and Team Novak, Tekin, Sanwa, you name it, like a lot of companies. I mean, back then sponsorship was heavy. Like I was getting cases of motors and cases of speed controllers. You know what I mean? And like getting travel and hotel and you name it. Like I had an incredible deal where I could have a wonderful lifestyle from racing RC boats. I traveled all over the country and I went to straight line events My main thing at first was breaking records, speed records, and I just traveled all over the country, Valdosta, Georgia, Pennsylvania, Michigan, like all kinds of places. Like because I went to the nationals every year. Any straight line records with IMPBA or NAMBA that was anywhere in the range of the equipment of the sponsors I used, I went and broke every record. I would go to saw records trials, time trials across the country, and bring home like 7 records, 5 and 7 records in a weekend. And that takes a lot of work. I'm talking about a lot of work. You know what I mean? It's tough to bring home 1 record in a weekend. I mean, it's tough just to even run 5 different boats in a weekend, run 7 different boats, and get records on all of them. And speaking of that, the records part, well, we'll get back to the records part. So I was good at getting saw records, but I wasn't that good at racing. And I wanted the full repertoire because I love RC boats. So I came back home in our club and started racing my ass off and learned what it took to finish a race. And that's how I became an expert at these RTR setups. So most of the people, their boats would overheat and they wouldn't finish, and they just weren't fast as fast as mine. And I honed my skills and my techniques with the electronics, and a lot of techniques that I kept with me from doing RC cars. And I would run the same motor, same prop as everybody else, but my boat would be like 5 miles an hour faster and run like 15, 20 degrees cooler. And that was just because of natural given talent. And in our district, I mean, I'm going to make a video soon that'll show you the trophies. Like I got the tallest trophies as tall as me. I mean, like I won every week, and they call me Bill Routine Oxidine because all it was me just getting first place was a routine. Like every word said. One time, after a few years, I got a second place, and the announcer said, "Bill, this is what a second place ribbon looks like," and everybody started laughing. And so, and I wanted to win. I wanted my sponsors to be proud of me. I wanted my family to be proud of me. I wanted my friends to be proud of me. And I was devoted to the sport. I just always have been. But there's always been some weird animosity with a lot of the racers against me. And a lot of it was because I didn't race for the same teams as them. I raced for RC car companies. And that's where a lot of the weird stuff dates back. There's some other stuff too, like when I raced in Georgia, they would take boats and put rebel flags on them and put crack in the whip and slave master and stuff like that on the boats to come after me. And back then, for some reason, the racing sanctions let them do that. And that kind of stems some of the animosity I have towards the racing sanctions, because actually when they would do that, they literally would allow them to run boats with slave master and cracking the whip and stuff like that on it, with a big rebel flag on the boat to go against me. Not only they would do that, but when I said something about it, they actually punished me for it. And that's something I'll never forget. But I still raced anyway for years, and because I had a different goal. Ever since I was a little kid, I wanted to have a hobby company. You know why? Because I never could figure out why, when you buy an RC car, the first thing you have to do is buy a new motor. Then you got to get a new speed controller. Then you got to get this. Then you got to get that. And then they break all the time. And I said, I want to grow up and I want to make RC stuff that doesn't break. I want to make stuff that comes with all the good stuff in it right out of the box. So you can have an awesome one. And so early in my racing career, I told myself, you know what, you're going to get in good with all these companies, like deep with them and make great ties. And then one day, with your name and all the wins that you make and being in the magazines and all the fame, you're going to use that to start your own company. And that's what I've done. And the story is even thicker than that. How I got to start my own company. Hobby Wing helped me out a lot. They told me, you know what, Bill, we'll back you up in a way that we wouldn't back anyone else up. And they did, and they gave me a hell of a start. And I really appreciate them for that. You know what I mean? They've had my back. But yeah, I wanted to make RC stuff that didn't break. So then we get to a point where I come out with the Dominator and the whole concept of Oxygen Marine. And very shortly after that, I came out with the Animal. Well, the Animal from the very beginning, I put Hobbywing HVESCs in it and 1650 kV motors. So the Animal was intended to be run on 8, 6, 8, 10. It could have been run up to 12S from what I remember the HVESC would do. And I considered that to be just to be an Animal. A boat this size with all that high voltage capability was an Animal. And I knew for most certain from all of my straight line and saw experience, because let me tell you, I've been to way more straight line events than most anyone in the country. I'll tell you that right now. And I mean, how else did I not break 100 sanctioned records? 100 of them. I'll show you guys the medals in it. And what's so funny is I still have records on the books today, and I haven't been to a SAW event since 2014. I've been doing I've been went and run SAW since 2014, and my records are still on the books. I did 80 miles an hour on 1S lipo. 1S, 80. One cell. Not this 6 cells, not this 4 cells, not none of this stuff people are doing nowadays. I'm talking about one cell, 80 miles an hour. You know what I mean? Like the things I know, I've forgotten more about making the RC boat fast than most of these people that are trying to make them go fast do. And that's why I don't really get involved in the speed run stuff. And we're going to get to that in a second. But so I designed the no ready to run boat before the Animal. Before I designed the Animal to do that, no ready to run boat had ever done 100 miles an hour. I don't care what anyone says, and it's documented. You will never see a video dated before the Animal of a ready to run boat doing 100 miles an hour. So when I made the boat, for me to do 100 miles an hour with it, I didn't think it was really right or fair, because I could make something go 100 miles an hour on 4S, on 3S. You know what I mean? I wanted a customer to do it. I wanted someone in the public to do it. So when I created the Animal, I put a bounty out there. I said, you know what? The first person to do 100 miles an hour with this ready to run boat will get $1,000 cash. And it has to be someone who bought a ready to run boat. Well, when I put that bounty out and put the Animal out, there was already just people acting freaking weird, man. Like the people that I'd raced with, just started putting out weird stuff about me, and they started trying to censor me, like in RC boat groups on Facebook. And it all started on Facebook, a lot of it. They're trying to censor me. They didn't want people to see, because I was pushing my brand super hard, because I invested my life into it. I mean, are you going to invest your life and your life savings in something and just sit there and hope people buy it? Not me. You know what I mean? I'm going to get out there and run up and down the street and tell everybody, look, we're selling RC boats. Check these things out. And on top of that, I was really proud of them. You know what I mean? So Todd Saltero, he wanted to take on the challenge, because he saw the people talking or whatever. He's like, you know what? This boat is awesome. And I don't care what they're saying or what they're pretending. This thing is awesome. I see it. He got it. Made a few tries, and he busted 100 miles an hour. And that right there pissed a lot of people off, because ProBoat put the Miss Geico out there. First they had the Zellos, and their engineers were some haters of mine. And their product engineers over there for ProBoat were some haters of mine. So what they did, they tried to make something to outdo the Animal, and they came out with that Miss Geico. Problem with the Miss Geico is the hull is just will shatter, and they're trying to make it like the animal. So once the animal did 100, we basically had the formula to make a ready to run boat do 100 miles an hour. That's when a bunch of haters start coming out with shit like Lazanda and the making the Geico do 100 and just basically trying to challenge it. When in reality, the animal is the only one that was built from the ground up to do 100 plus miles an hour. Then you come to some really weirdo shit where you've got some dude, some Dr. Mad or something like that, and he's taking a Zonda from Banggood and supposedly stock and doing 100. Now, number one, that Zonda you get from Banggood is not a ready to run boat. It doesn't even have a servo in it or a radio. So I don't see what's ready to run about that. But they want to try to take our nomenclature of world's fastest ready to run. Well, then you get some other guy and some other guy. What the moral of the story and the point I'm trying to get to is the Zonda is not the world's fastest ready to run. What those guys did is they got some DOS bullshit props and some higher KV motors to assure that they could do a little faster than what my true stock ready to run animal could do. And it's smoke and mirrors because no one in the public could actually buy that boat and make it go that fast. They could go over 100, but it can go as fast as these people are this world's fastest crap that they're doing. And what was silly about it, what's really bad for RC boating about it is they're trying to convince people that a really cheap boat that is literally manufactured by women is better than our quality. They're trying to convince you that you're better off with that bullshit than this, than that misaligned bullshit than this. Component for component, every single thing on the animal is better. Every single component on the animal is better. Now, here's something more to prove my point what I was telling you. Now, they're trying to convince you that this little motor right here and a speed controller smaller than this. I'm using one of mine because that's all I had. I actually threw away a 120 the other day. But they're trying to convince you that this little motor and speed controller is going to outrun this big beefy setup. Now, let's take a look a little closer. Let's look at these motors. Look at the size difference. Look at the vast size difference in these motors. Now look when we turn them to the side. Look at the vast size difference in diameter. This is just a bigger, stronger, beefier motor. Look at that big ESC. This is a big 200 amp. And they're trying to compare it to a little ass. This is a 180. I've got a 180. They're trying to compare this to a 120. Theirs comes with this little tiny motor and a 120 in it. And these people are trying to convince you that you're better off than having something like this. Come on, man. You know what I mean? It doesn't add up. Putting 2,500 kV motors in there. And that's what it takes for them. I don't know. It's really weird. You know, I found out some other weird shit. One of those guys that's cheating, like he did a comparison a few weeks ago. He bought a boat like a bootleg reject of our boat from a different site. Then started doing speed runs with it, but he was calling it the bootleg boat. He wasn't calling it Oxy when he was doing speed runs with that. He was calling it something else. Then he tried to come to me to get some parts or try to get some free stuff. No, you're trying to go around me and run some bullshit. So then he put that away and starts running some TFL stuff, right? And he starts cheating and putting all this and trying to make it look like it's faster than the animal. Recently, he took his bootleg boat and put some bullshit motors and ESCs in it, and then put his cheater motors in the Zonda and tried to do a straight comparison. And he did this. It's weird. They got a weird jealousy of me and an animosity of me. And I've never had that towards people. I've never been jealous of people that were better than me because there are people that were better than me and faster than me and more accomplished than me with RC boats. But I didn't do that. I actually admired those people and I learned from them. And I didn't go around spiting them or trying to mess with their business or trying to divert it or trying to pretend that some other stuff when you're not even getting a profit share. Now, what's really disgusting about it is the other boat dealer, I guess electrics.com, he actually posts those cheater scores on his website. And yeah, the world's fastest ready to run, and it's cheating. Now, another thing that is fascinating to me is that with these cheater scores, he's actually on that GPS speed run thing. That thing is such a joke and so full of shit. There's a couple of people on there that actually are saw racers. A couple of those records, like the big mono, you know what I mean, from Germany, homeboy, he knows what he's doing. He's not bullshitting around. But any of this Gen 3 shit or any of that stuff, that is a pursuit with not a stock motor in it, and his Zonda shit is not, it's not stock, and it's all just to divert people from the animal, and it's really really weird, and basically homeboy gets people and tries to tell them, don't buy this, and he tried to make a team. He tried to make a fuck Bill Oxney team. It's really weird, and getting my customers to go around me and spite me, and it's just so weird that there's people out there doing that shit. But I want to make sure you guys don't fall victim to that stuff because I'm letting you know what the real is and who's the actual realness. You know what I mean? There's a big difference. The 100 world records that I have, they're not just stick a GPS on my boat and go out there and make a video and put some smoke and mirrors up and have something different in there and that looks the same and show people on the video. I'm talking. I traveled the country and went to sanctioned events where you have to do a two-way pass, forward and back, and your score is averaged between the two passes, not just your highest score. It's the average of the two-way pass, so that wind or water current don't play a role. There are officials there to check your equipment. Yes, that's a real record. Not something you've done at home that you can switch things up or do any camera tricks or you know what I mean. In none of that stuff. I'm talking about I have real records and I have over 100 of them. And it's not the same. It's one thing to be at home in the comfort of your living room or the comfort of your garage, get your boat all ready and go to the lake. No, this is where I had to fly my equipment across the country. I had to fly get a rent a car, get a hotel, set up at a lake that I've never been to in my life, around people I've never been around in my life, and go head up against other people. Not just me against the GPS. I'm talking about me against other people that have heard of me and want to take me out. You know what I'm saying? And that's a whole different level of record breaking and record setting. So if there comes to any question of my speeds or scores, number one, I'm not even into some kind of. I'm not even part of the GPS thing. They've got me blocked from all that shit because they don't like that I tell you the truth. They want people to just go by the bullshit. Like, how can you have a page like that when there's no one to verify anything? Now I'll tell you how their motors could be verified. It's called an inductance meter. You don't not by what it says on the can. I'm talking about you got to hit each pole with an inductance meter, and that'll tell you what the wind is. And yeah, and so like I said, a lot of people know that the shit is smoke and mirrors, all that GPS speed run stuff, and like the main thing is these world's fastest videos, world's fastest. Come on, man. You know what I mean? You can look at the components in the boat and know that it's not going to go faster than our shit. You know what I mean? But like I said, these people are weirdos, completely weird and completely obsessed with me in the weirdest way that you could ever think of. You know what I mean? You bring up Bill Oxney and they just go off. And there's a bunch of, they make up the craziest shit you could ever imagine. I was banned from racing and all this other shit. How did I get all these trophies? Why are my records still on the books? So weird. And that's why it got weird like that with me with racing RC boats. So that's why I graduated to full size boats. So much different. So much different. And they really love these RC boats. So now what I've done after being around the full size, not the full size, the RC boats and all the weirdness with people and the secrets and stuff like that, I vowed that everything that I learned through racing and straight line secrets and all that stuff, I'm gonna provide it to the public. And the way I'm providing it to the public is through these boats. They're the highest quality boats I can put out. Now, on the positive side, all of it's positive. I'm just giving you guys some education and letting you guys know what the truth is about what's going on out here and what some of the history of this RC boating thing from somebody that's been around here for a couple of decades. You know what I mean? A lot of these people that are trying to mislead you or be some gurus and stuff like that, man, I'm telling you, they got their first ready to run boat a few summers ago. But anyway, yeah, this boat has got our stainless high rake props, and right now they will be available actually Tuesday. I've got some new high rake props coming out. Yep, like 1819 style, 1821, and 45 millimeter with more pitch. And those are going to be more stock props to make my ready to run boats haul ass. So what those people doing the world's fastest Zonda shit or whatever, what they want you to do is they want you to go buy some special props from some asshole that what he does is he takes the prop. He takes just an ABC prop, sharpens and balances it, heat treats it, then he grinds the numbers off of here so you don't know what prop it is. He'll just call it the supersonic or the turbo prop or some shit and charge you a fortune for something that you could just get for $20, sharpen, balance, and stick in the oven. He wants to charge you $100 and some odd dollars for. Now, what's disgusting to me about that is he's giving you a prop and giving it a hocus pocus name, but not giving you the actual numbers on it, so that you can learn and know what you have and move forward. That's holding the sport back for your own benefit, because you don't want people to know that you're doing some Wizard of Oz shit. I don't play that shit. Oops, I should not have dropped that prop like that. Okay, good. I didn't nick or ding it. But anyway, I don't do that. My props, they're sizes. You know what I mean? And I let you know exactly what it takes. And the stuff we're doing 100 plus with is stuff you can buy right off of our shelf. You know what I mean? You don't have to wait for some long bullshit or somebody to stick something in an oven or put it in a cow can box or whatever. You know what I mean? We have lots of them. And that's another fun fact as well. Aside from Traxxas and ProBoat, we have the biggest RC boat warehouse in America. Nobody that sells RC boats in America has as big a warehouse stock as us, period. Like I said, besides the biggest companies like ProBoat and Traxxas, who one day I intend to be just as big as. We didn't get in this to be small. We got in this to spread our quality and goodness throughout the whole industry, throughout the whole world. Because like I said, my dream when I was a kid is I wanted to create radio controlled products that didn't break, that you didn't have to go buy a new motor the minute you bought it or buy a new this or buy a new that. How about something that's totally killer right out of the box? And that there is the spirit. Here's our new mini Dom servo. Mini Dom servo, motor, and ESC. Well, I don't have the ESC here, but our servo, motor, and ESC are going to be in the Mini Dom 2, our new water jacket. It's been a long time in the waiting, but the Mini Dom 2 is almost done, and it's going to be totally awesome and well worth the wait. Gentlemen, I promise you, that boat is going to fly. It's going to work cool. It's going to be light and nimble. And, you know, my roots and my origin are from racing. That's why little things like a smoother, stronger servo make a difference to me. That's why a nicer, smoother ESC makes a difference to me. That's why a nice, cool, efficient, robust motor makes a difference to me. Adding all these things together in our new Mini Dom 2 is going to give our customers a whole new experience, a different driving experience. And like I said, that's what I want. You know, we're here to advance radio control model boating. You guys see that I run boats, and I'm actually out here making videos every single day. Now, like I said, you know, in the other places, the owner doesn't even run RC boats. How's he innovating? How's he advancing the sport in any way? He's not. You know what I mean? So, like, a lot of these haters, they're so scared of me making money. That's what it is. They're scared. Bill Oxley's going to make money. Well, I already do make money. You know what I mean? And guess what? All of it goes back into this business. All of it goes back into making new stuff for you guys, innovating new parts and new products for you guys, and bringing them to you. No, I didn't go buy a Corvette. I haven't gotten a new car in 15 years. I got a new work truck last year, but that's to haul boats around. You know what I mean? My spinning addiction in life, I'm addicted to creating new products. The more support we get, the more the RC boating community wins and benefits. I'm just going to come out with more and more rad stuff because this is my true passion. This is what I love. You know what I mean? I make this stuff so I can play with it too. You know what I mean? You don't think I'm anxious as hell to run these new props? You don't think I'm stoked as hell on this totally awesome water jacket and this totally awesome motor? I am stoked on it to play with it. And that's a different excitement than somebody that's just stoked on getting your money for it. You know what I mean? But you know, every now and then I'll give you guys some of this truth and knowledge. But our next live stream will be focused solely on the products. But it just I've found out these outrageous things about these speed run boats and these world's fastest that are always. It's funny, it's world's fastest, but the people who keep doing it over and over again, they will never run an oxidine boat. Only that one guy who didn't even have an oxidine boat would try to ridicule it, but they'll take something else and just say that it's the world's fastest, and they don't even. It's because I don't make a cheater motor for them. SSS makes a high KV motor like that. We don't make a higher KV motor than what we truly put in our ready to run boats. And that's a fact, Jack. But yeah, I'm about to reach the hour mark on you guys. And I honestly think it's Saturday night. And if you have a wife or girlfriend, you should be with her instead of sitting here like, no, I'm just kidding. I'm very glad you guys took the time to watch this live stream. I truly am, and I appreciate everybody that supports us because I have a lot in store for you guys this year and the years to come. We've got some great things going, and great things have and are coming to us for just the true hard work, determination, and diligence that we pay forward for the sport and have for decades and actually decades. You know, and I'm going on 30 years of having been in the sport. You know what? I appreciate that, Steve. I appreciate that, Steve. Yeah, just stay tuned and look forward to a lot more information and a lot more great products coming out. Like I said, this is Bill Oxney and the Kitty Cat Fluffy. Over and out, fellas.